Good day, I'm Theodore Henry, and this is your JIS News for Friday, October 20, 2023. Jamaica and Canada held bilateral talks yesterday on trade and investment, access to finance, and climate resilience on the heels of the Canada-CARICOM summit held over the past 2 days in Ottawa. Foreign Affairs and Foreign Trade Minister Kamina Johnson-Smith had discussions with Canada's Minister of International Trade, and Prime Minister Andrew Holness met with his Canadian counterpart Justin Trudeau. During a plenary session of the summit, Prime Minister Holness made a call for direct bilateral talks between Canada and CARICOM countries to be intensified.
From services, including tourism, to energy, agriculture, there is a strong trading and investment relationship between Canada and the CARICOM region. But I think we can all agree that the relationship can be mutually strengthened, and there is much more to leverage than we are presently doing.
Mr. Holness also highlighted the need for greater development of transportation logistics and human capital within the region.
Clearly, as our economies develop and move more towards services and technological innovation, on both sides, but particularly within the CARICOM region, greater investments are needed in our human resource development, focusing on STEM and innovation, technology. And I think that this is a great opportunity between Canada and the region to explore how this can be done.
Mr. Holness added that the extension of the non-reciprocal Canada-CARICOM Trade Agreement, CARIB-CAN, will provide more opportunities for the region. Meanwhile, the Minister of Labour and Social Security, Pernell Charles Jr., will lead a team to Canada next week. The mission is to continue probes into allegations of inhumane treatment of workers, including Jamaicans, on the farm work program in Canada. Minister Charles Jr. is expected to meet with employers and relevant authorities to make further enquiries about complaints that do not match up with a report that the government of Jamaica received. The concern was raised at a town hall meeting in Ottawa, Canada, by a member of the diaspora community. In response, Minister of Foreign Affairs and Foreign Trade Senator Kamina Johnson-Smith said a credible structure was put in place to investigate and produce the report. But she asserted that if the report was presumed to be incomplete or doesn't reflect the whole story, there was a responsibility to inquire further.
There is a Senate committee as well, and on it, a Jamaican senator, a Jamaican-born senator sits, Senator Moody, and they are charged with and are making inquiries about the process and are making recommendations. The scope of the problem is being assessed as well from the Canadian perspective, and we're engaging with them and promoting and encouraging that work to take place.
Weighing in, Prime Minister Andrew Holness said if the farm work program was contravening the laws, standards, policies and expectations of both Canada and Jamaica, that must be addressed.
So it is the duty of the government, obviously, to take any complaint seriously and to investigate it. And if it doesn't, we have to work to fix it without prejudice to the people who benefit from the program, meaning the Jamaican farm workers and the Canadian farmers. So I think this is an opportunity to improve the program.
The Ministry of Education and Youth has started the rollout of the Education Management Information System, EMIS, which will track the conduct, attendance, and academic performance of students. This is one of the recommendations of the 2022 Jamaica Education Transformation Commission, JETC, report. Portfolio Minister Favour Williams gave an update on efforts to implement the report's recommendations during a press conference at Jamaica House on Wednesday. She says the ministry will be collaborating with the United Nations Educational, Scientific and Cultural Organization, UNESCO, to help build out the EMIS.
To have an electronic system that to help us do the attendance of students will alert us very quickly if a particular student is absent 3, 4, 5 days. So then we can almost immediately, try to find out what's going on in the home. Is this child ill or has moved? What is happening?
The behavior alert component will allow teachers to post notes in the system that will notify guidance counselors to any student's behavior. This will allow the counselors to reach out to the child before any confrontations or disruptions in the school. The rollout is taking place parish by parish, beginning with Kingston and progressing to St. Andrew. The Ministry of National Security says early warning systems must be established to address the abuse of Molly and other illicit drug usage in the country. State Minister Juliet Cuthbert-Flynn made the pronouncement at the National Workshop on Early Warning Systems on Drugs held on Wednesday.
Early warning systems are crucial tools in addressing drug abuse. They allow us to detect, as we all know, emerging signals, identify vulnerable communities, assess the effectiveness of existing prevention, and also the intervention measures that we should put in. They also provide a vital link between data, analysis, and also actions, enabling us to be proactive rather than reactive in our approach.
The workshop was hosted by the Organization of American States Inter-American Drug Abuse Control Commission in collaboration with the National Council on Drug Abuse. Minister Cuthbert-Flynn says early warning signs as an interagency approach present a realistic opportunity for countries like Jamaica to identify emerging drugs that may pose a potential threat to public health and safety.
We are dedicated not only working together locally, but also hand in hand with our partners regionally and international partners to develop and also to implement best practices.
About 240 healthcare staff are to benefit from violence-related trauma management training. The training is being provided by the Ministry of Health and Wellness with support from the Spotlight Initiative and the Pan American Health Organization, PAHO. Portfolio Minister Dr. Christopher Tufton says the intervention will further equip health workers to provide better care and support in cases of violence-related injuries. The comprehensive series of training and sensitization sessions began on October 17, World Trauma Day, and will continue into November. World Trauma Day was celebrated this year under the theme, Empowering Voices, Healing Wounds Together. And finally, close to 500 residents in Falmouth and its environs benefited from life-saving health screenings recently under the Ministry of Health's Know Your Numbers campaign. Minister Christopher Tufton says several people who took the opportunity of receiving the various health tests at the Trelawney launch were on the verge of a health crisis.
We did just over 1,600 screenings, meaning tests, yesterday in Trelawney, in Falmouth. Not 1,600 people, 450 or so persons, some doing multiple tests. Of that number, 150 had to be referred to the doctor for follow-up. And about 99 or so, just reading a report this morning, had to have extensive consultations.
Dr. Tufton gave the update as he opened a mammography unit for breast cancer screening at the Cornwall Regional Hospital recently. He revealed that 100 persons were found to be suffering from serious health issues.
It means that they would have been hypertensive, never knew that their blood pressure was out of whack. What's the logical consequence? One day they fall down. Stroke. They were advanced diabetes, never knew that they had it. What's the logical consequence of that? Kidney-related issues, a lot of other things, losing a limb, whatever, dialysis.
The minister stresses that the findings point to the value of the Know Your Numbers program and the need for persons to do regular health checkups and screenings. And that's it for JIS News Today. I'm Theodore Henry. Thanks for watching.